Hello, welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Eric, joined once again with
Karen.
that one. Bringing you some more Ryan's Hope, episode 71 to 75. Tommy will roll the other credits and we'll chat. Um, so, hello, Alexandra, our new commenter. Thank you for commenting. We love you too. And we appreciate compliments. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I do.
Um,
I love it from
and
the
Lem
get-go.
and Lemon Lady. Lemon Lady, let us know if you remember what's going on in these because it was a good week.
Yeah.
It was a fun week. Lots of turmoil. I they're really good writers. They're
Yeah.
building it really well.
hmm
Triangles that we care about. Asshole
Oh, yeah.
husbands that
Asshole
we want to
husbands
see
that we
get
hate.
punched.
Yeah. If he gets punched, I'm gonna scream. I'm gonna be like, yes,
Right.
I hate that guy.
So episode 71, Nell and Seneca are still talking because he had just ransacked her office and he saw the results and all that. Um, he's like, "Why wouldn't you tell me?" She's like, "Why would I tell you?"
Yeah. Seriously.
um, Jack and Frank chat about his lies and the $6,500
hmm
and Jill and all that stuff. Jack wants the truth, or he's gonna bring it up. Um, or he's going to bring up Jill in the paper and cause more drama for them and hurt his campaign, basically. Um, Frank, Frank's a good actor. 'Cause he was like tearing in bed, and I'm like, wow, like that was like he was like not crying, but like just very like so upset that he had this one tear come down, and I was like, damn, he's impressive. Look at
Yeah, he was doing some incredibly emotional work from the bed, still trapped in
Yeah,
bed. So
in the bed in episode 71, this man has been in a bed since
bed.
day one.
hmm
I don't know if he's still alive, but if he is, I need to find out and see how he felt about acting in this bed for a whole year. I'm assuming it's going to be a year.
Yeah, seriously.
We're in like November, I think. It's already half a year almost.
Oh my god.
And he's pissed because he doesn't want all of this stuff to come out, and he doesn't like to be blackmailed, as he's getting blackmailed by multiple people, I think. Um, Pat and Faith do lunch. Apparently she makes a mean tuna.
I don't know. It
Um,
sounded to me like he hated that tuna. Like he was like, "What is this tuna salad?" Like there was a lot of like hints that Faith is not good at cooking.
well, he said it was tuna salad before he ate it, and then when he ate it, he was like, "This is good." But I thought he actually liked it.
I don't know. I don't know.
But
But
just like was, I
the
thought
way
he was just like not sure if because he's used to his Ryan's food, so
I
he
don't
didn't know.
know. I think Pat was being nice, but I don't think that food was good.
I feel like it would be though, because she always hung around the Ryans. I remember she was like doing work in the Ryans, like making stuff. So I feel like
Yeah, chopping
she
stuff around
learned.
is cooking. Well, you can go
Yeah.
on the side of you think Faith can cook. I'm going to go on the side of I think Pat was being overly nice.
They talk about Bucky, and apparently Bucky knew her better in a few days than he did in a bunch of years, however long they've known each other for.
I don't know how I feel
Um,
about that. I don't think that's true.
I feel like that too. I mean, I feel like if Bucky would have known her better, he would have laid off a lot more than he did.
Yeah, because if he was knowing her, he would have seen how uncomfortable he was making her, and instead of every
Mm,
5 seconds pushing, 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 he would have eased off and approached her more slowly. But he just went too fast.
right. Nell says she almost told Seneca once. They had like one really good day, I guess. They did lunch, they hardly talked to each other, they made love, but she was just crying and like just thinking in her head, like, why doesn't Seneca know? Not that he should have known,
No, I don't
but
think
known that something was off about her.
he should have known she was sad. when she was
Right.
crying after their perfect day. So she realized in that moment that he just does not notice her.
Yeah.
And I was so
So she did not tell him.
sad. It was such a sad scene for her. And he just
It
didn't,
was.
even then, he doesn't get it. He's like, but you should have told me. And it's just like, you're all about you all the time, Seneca.
So he tries to be like a consultant, I guess, on her case. She's like, I don't want you a part of it. She's like, it's my dying. Basically, stay out of it.
Right.
I'm dying, not yours. Which we already talked about, I feel like a few episodes ago, like we were talking about that. That we thought
But it's
that's what
just,
was going to happen.
yeah, because she doesn't want him to come over and take control of her entire life, which is what he's trying to do right now. Him coming in her office and being pissed off that he had to creep around her office and steal the information. It's like, Seneca, she didn't want you to have it. Like, she didn't want you to have it.
I also feel like she shouldn't have left her things like on the thingy, but whatever. You know,
Yeah.
her, what are they, scans on the little scan reader.
Oh, by the way, Daniel
Um,
Hugh Kelly is still alive. He's 72. So Frank's still alive. So we can hunt him down and ask him what it was like to act in a bed for a whole year.
Are you sure that's Frank, Daniel Hugh Kelly, or is that a recast?
Um,
Does it
I
say?
just,
Because I know Daniel Hugh Kelly, and I don't think it's that guy, but I could be wrong.
oop, hold on.
Is
Let me get to the camera. Is that not
that
him?
Frank? I'm not sure. I didn't know that was Daniel Hugh Kelly because I know him from like other stuff. Anyway, um, Frank lies to Jack again. Um, he says he doesn't know what happened at the staircase and all that. He lent money to a friend. He doesn't say who the friend is, so he's still telling all these lies.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's all I got for that episode. 72. Um, Jack says, let's tell Mary about the conversation. He lent money to a friend because he knew about Jill, so he basically was getting blackmailed, which Jack is also blackmailing him.
Everyone is.
Yeah.
Everyone is. Roger is. I want to call him Harry Silva. Nick Zabo is. Everybody is. Everybody has something on Frank now.
I swear, like once Frank gets out of this bed, he might kill everybody. Everybody's up his butt.
This says Daniel Hugh Kelly, 1975 to 1989.
So Jack tells Mary, give him a call if she feels like it later. She's like, you're kidding me, right? She's still pissed about him. She doesn't know about all this stuff.
Yeah. Like,
Seneca,
once you find the truth, call me.
yeah,
And she's like, what truth? Get the hell out of here.
get out of here. Seneca confronts Ed about Nell's diagnosis. One aneurysm is inoperable. One can be removed. Nell does not want surgery. She made it clear to them in
Yeah.
the past.
I
Whatever.
kind of like this because it shows that Seneca doesn't listen to Nell or her wishes at all, but Ed
Ed
respects
does.
Nell. Yeah.
Yes. Frank admits he lied to Mary. He brings up Nick, the debt. He doesn't say who needed the money, though.
Yeah, he covers for Roger.
He admits he is being blackmailed, admits he loves someone else, and it's Jill. So Mary's finding out all this stuff. She's kind of reeling because, it was her hero. It was her Superman. And,
Yeah. Time to
he's human.
knock him right off that pedestal and right back into the dirt with everybody else.
I like that it came out the way it did because I feel like if it came out other ways, I guess it wouldn't be as believable, like to her. I feel like she would still defend him.
Oh, yeah. I think if it came from anyone but Frank, she would have been like lies and crap. And
which is why Jack went to him to tell her.
I also like the way Frank told her. He was very delicate and gentle with kind of telling her that he's a hoe. And I liked it. I liked the way he did it. And she was kind of like, I like Jill for you, but why the hell did you do this to Delia? And he's just kind of like, well, Delia needed me. And when I was going to divorce her, I found out she was pregnant. So, whatever. And it was just like, he's so even then dismissive of Delia as a person, which kind of sucks for D. But he's just like,
I feel
I'm
like
in
he's,
love, and I'm in love in a different way. So who cares? I mean, it's just marriage and all. But don't tell our parents because they'll be furious. Like, of course they will.
but it sucks for Delia, but at the same time, she knows because he told her like it is. So that's on her. She's staying in
Yeah,
it
but
and she wants to fight for him.
yeah, but not this time. Like, she didn't know when he was cheating on her in law school and all that. Like, he did all these horrible things. She found out later, and now she's fighting for her marriage. Like,
I was confused at the timeline for this. Like,
yeah.
when was he in law school exactly? Like, so they didn't have a kid when he fell in love with Jill either. Did you catch that? Like, they didn't have little Johnny at that
Well,
point.
she was pregnant when he was already sleeping
Was
with Jill.
gonna, yeah, because he was gonna tell her that he was gonna dump
I think it's
Delia.
tight. I think it's a tight turnover. I think he went to
Yeah.
I think he went to college. He fell in love with Jill. He decided she was what he wanted, and then immediately Delia's pregnant. Now, whether Delia knew he was in love with Jill and got pregnant to keep him, I don't know.
Right.
But it still sucks because he could have not married Delia because it almost feels like he was in love with Jill before he married Delia. Like
Yeah,
the timeline is confusing.
it is. But there's a lot. Seneca meets with Bucky about Nell. He says that there's this new procedure in California and all this stuff that they could probably get the one aneurysm out. Obviously, the one is inoperable, but it can make her live, I guess, a little longer.
Yes, so now he's trying to control Nell through Bucky. Like he's trying to get Bucky to suggest what he wants to do so he can control Nell still.
And it might work. Seneca wants her to take a chance, but she doesn't want to. Again, Bucky says he will talk to Nell. Frank explains his affair with Jill to Mary. Again, she said to Dina, which we did mention, that he married her because she needed him, which was really strange. I'm like, did people do that back then?
I don't know, but all of this will fall on D. The fact that the marriage fails will fall on D because that's how they did it back then. They were like, oh, if your husband leaves you, it's because you didn't try hard enough. And we see that reflected in every time D talks to that priest, and the priest is just like, well, did you try harder? Did you? And it's just like, what do you mean? He's sleeping with somebody else. How is that her fault?
I like her conversations with the priest because she never does what he says anyway.
Well, he's an asshole.
He's a priest. That's what they're supposed to do.
What, he's supposed to tell her that everything's her fault and that she's not trying hard enough and that's why her husband doesn't love her? He sucks. He's a bad priest.
I don't know. I think he's just giving her hope. But anyway, Ryan's hope. Mary needs to think and leaves. Right. Episode 73. Faith goes to Ryan's. She's like, "Where's Pat?" She's looking for Pat all in these episodes when she's not with him, which is not a good sign.
She's a little obvious.
She is very, but I don't think she knows she's obvious because it's Faith, and that's just how Faith is.
Yeah.
Maeve and Johnny are there. They try talking to her, but she like goes to talk to this Sybil girl.
Okay,
she wants
Sybil. No, Sybil likes Pat. So she's trying to get rid of Sybil before Pat shows up. That's exactly what she does.
Oh, is that what she was trying to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she went right over to eliminate the competition. So she tells her that Pat is at the hospital. He's not going to be back in time. She doesn't think he's going to be there at all tonight, which she knows he's going to be there in like 15 minutes. So she gets rid of Sybil. So
That's awesome. I didn't catch that.
For herself. It was so obvious and funny that Maeve noticed it.
That's true. When she says it later, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jill visits Frank with good news. There's like this, I forget, like this big guy that's going to be on his side or whatever to help with his campaign, but Frank is kind of like distracted with all of his drama. He fills her in on
He's drama.
He fills her in on Jack. Jill's worried that Mary may hate her because she's the other woman. She doesn't know. She always liked Mary, so now she's like,
Well, then don't sleep with other people's husbands if you don't want the consequences of your own actions.
You can't help who you fall in love with. God.
You can control who you sleep with.
I don't know. Sometimes there's the heat of the moment, and then you think about it after the heat of the moment. You're like, oh, should I have done that? I mean, it happens. People have flaws, Karen. We can't be perfect like you.
I'm perfect.
in every way.
It-
So he feels bad that he's not Mary's hero anymore. Um, Meanwhile, at the bar, Pat comes and Faith's there, and she wants to learn how to play darts.
to flirt. She's trying to get his
Well,
undivided attention, so she
she
doesn't
doesn't know
bring up.
how to flirt.
I
She
don't know
just
how
knows
to
how to be
play
her
darts.
in her Faith way, though. She's
Yeah,
not like that at all.
no, but it is her attempting to be
It
like.
is. I know. I feel bad for her. I like want her to win. Like I'm rooting for her and whatever she
Me too.
wants because she's
Me too.
just a weirdo.
Because she's so awkward and it's
I
endearing.
know. But I think Pat's like crushing on her too, but I think he won't admit it because of Bucky.
Right. I actually agree with you.
Mary comes home. Delia's there with Little John. They just have like she's like acts awkward because now she knows what Dee knows and all of this stuff.
Guilty, and she's watching this
Guilty.
woman fight for her marriage, and her husband does not care about her. That's a tough
Yeah.
thing for any woman to see another woman go through. But also, she
Yeah.
probably feels guilty because she also doesn't really like Dee, so she's in like
Right.
this weird position.
Very
And I
weird.
was cracking up because Delia gave the baby chocolate, and I kept thinking of Raven from
Raven?
Good Night because
Just
she
give
was
the baby
always
chocolate. Shut up.
so that made me think of Raven, and I was
Yes.
like, "Is Delia
Me too.
giving this baby chocolate to shut him up?"
Was that a thing you do to 2-year-olds back
No,
then? You give them chocolate.
chocolate. God,
I mean, it happened on
Apparently
two
it works.
soaps.
Apparently, it works. Maybe it's the
So
same.
if you have a baby, if you have a crying baby, try giving them some chocolate.
That'll work. And Mary also, they're always commenting on Delia's parenting because she's like, "Shouldn't the baby be asleep by now?" I'm like, mind your own damn business. You know?
Right. So Jill goes to see Mary, but I guess she wasn't there at the time. Because I thought they were going to talk in this one, but they do not. They don't bump into each other till I think the next episode. Maeve warns Pat about Faith's feelings. She's like, you might want to step back because you're getting crushed on by your girl Faith.
Yeah, and she's like, Faith doesn't do anything by halves. She's a serious girl who takes things seriously, and you're a hoe. Nothing wrong with it, but you're a hoe, and you can't go after her if you don't mean anything by it.
And he seems upset when she says that, but I think he gets it, but also he is kind of like, I don't know.
I think
because
it's very complicated.
It is because I think he likes hanging out with Faith, but like he knows that his mom's right, and he probably should push her away, which he does. Like in the next scene, she's like, "Oh, you want to do dinner later or whatever?" He's like, I can't." Or
a little too hard because he goes in the opposite direction. Instead of being like, "Okay, let me lean back a little bit," he's like, "Let me disappear out of the picture entirely," because I think he panicked because of Bucky and because of him being not interested in serious relationships right now. And then, like you said, I think he might reciprocate that crush a little bit.
Yeah. So episode 74, Faith is back at work and she's looking for Pat already.
Obsessive.
I think he gets to work and then she talks about the Skittles game that her dad had and she wanted it fixed for the bar. She wanted to give it to the Ryans and invites him to dinner. And he's like, no, maybe we shouldn't.
She's just making up different scenarios in which she can be alone with Pat.
So she can,
and he catches on to that and he's like, maybe not.
Maybe not. Mary and Frank, I guess Mary goes back to the hospital. She's acting weird, which kind of upsets him. She says that she was mad at Dee, but also felt sorry for her. Which you could tell in that scene. Like, she didn't even have to say that, and I got that from the scene. She's doing a good acting job.
Is like amazing. Everything about her
really is.
I don't particularly like Mary, the character. Maybe I will eventually, but I think that Kate Mulgrew is doing a great job with her.
Yeah, I like Mary.
You like Ryan's?
I do. I don't mind that. I'm okay with character flaws. I mean, you love Scotty from GH, and he's the worst. So
he is not the worst. He is the best, and I love him.
The worst.
He has never made a mistake in his entire life.
He wore Laura's underwear on his head. I mean, he pretty much did.
Okay. All right. Fine. He had a moment. God.
So he mentions to Mary that like he thinks Dee will give up Little John.
Oh yeah, he thinks that
Yeah,
she doesn't care about her son, and you know what? I'm not sure how I feel about it. I feel like she might use Little John as a weapon to try and hold on to Frank, but
she already is.
I don't
Yeah,
know if she actually cares about him. And I just realized Little John would then be, isn't Little John Ava Jerome's brother?
yeah.
Where is he? Is he alive?
Where's Little John?
Is he in the mob? I need to know.
I don't. I mean, we have a lot of Ryans to watch, so I mean, he could die at some point. We don't know. Don't tell us, Lemon Lady.
Don't tell
Well,
me.
wait. You can tell us other things.
Is
I
it
think she mentioned
Little
that Clem
John
gets an
becomes
earring.
Oh, what? Don't tell me things.
Clem gets an ear. Really, you think that's a major plot point? Clem gets an earring.
They take Clem outside the hospital and he goes to a bar and they get earrings after drinking too many shots.
Yeah, right.
I love
That
Clem.
would be fun.
I feel like he needs to be doing more than
I know.
sitting
He's
at the
good.
counter.
The Lemon Lady does say he gets more involved. He just doesn't ever get a love interest, sadly.
What? Why?
I know. I'm like, really? In like 15 years, they didn't give him a love interest? I don't know how long he hangs around, but.
Oh, I love Clem. That sucks.
And Mary also says that she would have picked Jill, and then but she then says like you chose Delia, why would you do that? And then also why would you lie to me?
Remember, they're Catholics, so it's marriage until death, no divorce. So
Right.
for Mary, this is the 70s, so this is a horrific thing he's done.
Yeah.
Because he has ruined Delia and he doesn't care. So like Mary trying to grapple with the idea that her religion says that this is absolutely crap, that he chose Delia and now he needs to stay with Delia. So like this is gonna be like an underpinning issue.
Yep.
And he's like,
that's why
get divorced and get another woman. I don't care.
Yeah.
Your whole family's super Catholic, dude. You're screwed.
Yeah, you're gonna get it. Bucky goes to Nell. She tells the story. She was reading a dolphin book, and then she just pictured being a dolphin in the next life and all that. I thought it was cute.
Yeah, me too.
He asked to look at her scans. I think he's trying to like not say that Seneca was involved, but he does ultimately tell her.
Yeah, because she clocks it immediately. She's like, "So Seneca."
Well, she reiterates like no surgery. He brings up that there was a new procedure in California and blah blah blah. She's like, "Who told you?" Excuse me, and he did tell her, Seneca. I was surprised. I didn't think he would. And then like he gets like mad at her because she won't like try to live, but she doesn't want to waste time with having a procedure because she could just die anyway at any point. Which I see her point. And she's like, just don't go like this. Trust me. He's like, I can't. He was just upset. He just needed time. Nobody gives people time.
But the surgery might buy her time or might kill her faster.
Right.
Because she still has the second inoperable one. So it's like, all it does is buy her a little more time. And she's like, why not I just use the time I have and not take the risk?
And it's a new procedure, so anything could happen with that as well. It's experimental.
The same when somebody has a terminal illness and they stop doing chemo or whatever because they're just like, I just don't want to be sick in my last like 3 months. And people get so upset. They're like, why aren't you fighting anymore? But you know that there's no more fight to have and you just want to enjoy what you have left. And it's hard for people to get on board with that because they just want you to live for as long as possible. And I think Nell's doing it right. She knows she's going to die. She's trying to finish her work before it gets her.
Yep. So Pat explains that his relationships aren't serious, but then she's like, well, you're serious with your family. Going back to faith and all that. And he's like, it's not that. He's just like, I can't be serious about one female right now. My career, my family, I got a lot going on.
He's like, they're residents. They don't have enough time for full-on relationships. And then if it breaks up at work, it's super messy. I think he's being smart.
It's basically like, and he basically says, it's not you, it's me. It's like,
yes.
He's like, I can't hang out with my buddy's gal. Even though you may not feel about him that way, he feels that way about you. So it would just not be right.
What's Pat in a really awkward position between his friends.
Yeah.
And it's not smart for him.
And she even says, like, well, she's like, I've never been let down gently, but I think you did a good job. I was like, this poor Faith. He did a great job the way he talked to her. Like, he
Well,
was
first he
really nice to
avoided
her.
her like the plague, and then he was like,
He
I
did.
gotta tell her. So, like, I think he just bought himself some time to think.
Yeah.
And
But he did. He broke it to her nicely.
Mm-hmm.
Said, you're you. Like, that's just how you are, and, like, get it, you know? But it was sweet, but sad. Because I'm like, oh, Faith. At least she didn't try kissing him or anything, because then that would be, like, humiliating.
Ew, that would have been so heartbreaking.
I know. Thank
I don't
God.
want that for her.
Bucky comes along after they had talked, and he's like, he had a bad day, she had a bad day, and then that's all they say because they're like ignoring each other for the most part. I do like what Pat does in the next episode. It cracks me up, and I wonder where it's going to go. But then Mary tells her feelings to Frank about Jack, and that's it for that one. Oh, sorry, I have the mascot on my lap.
You got to
He just
pay
made
that
a little noise.
cat tax.
Cat
Everyone
taxes.
wants to see your cat.
Yeah.
I have no pets at the moment. I can go upstairs
He
and get that dog.
He wants to be seen. Episode 75, Delia talks to the priest again.
I hate this priest.
She's wearing this doily veil, which distracted me from the scene.
Was that when women had to cover their hair in church? Because, like, I know a lot of things changed after Vatican II.
I don't think she wore anything any other time, but I could be wrong. Maybe she did have like a scarf and I just didn't realize it. But this doily I couldn't miss because it used to be on my table.
Because I remember when we were kids, women weren't allowed past the prayer rail and a whole bunch of other rules for ladies that aren't there anymore. When they took the prayer rail down, that was a good day for the ladies in church. They were like, that prayer rail's stupid. And they took it.
Right.
And women were allowed near the altar.
She's talking about Jill. She's tortured by her. Basically, he's like, "Are you tortured by your anger? Like, what are you saying to this woman?" And she admits that she wasn't exactly nice. He's like, "Well, talk to Jill nicely, and maybe, ask her nicely to go away." I guess. He thinks that she can reconstruct their marriage. Mary bumps into Jill at the hospital, and they chat. Mary realizes Frank is human and makes mistakes and all that stuff. They just have a cute little conversation. She's like, I like you and I'm still going to like you, but I'm just like dealing with it. Clem is on. Clem, Pat, Bucky, and Faith are at work. Pat tells Clem the skinny on those two. Mm-hmm. He's like, they don't talk anymore. They just kind of ignore each other and do their jobs. So that's good. Pat asks Faith to dinner because he comes up with an idea to get her and Bucky, I guess, back together. I saw it on his face too. I'm like, I know what he's going to do.
Yeah. I knew he was going to do this. I don't know how I feel about it yet because if he's trying to get them talking to each other as friends, that's fine. But if he's trying to get them together romantically, I think it's too much. Like it's
well, neither of them need
Bucky and Faith together, but I don't anymore because he's too pushy.
I don't know. I think he's doing all right. I wouldn't mind revisiting to see how they interact again because they haven't for a while.
We'll see.
Then he asked Bucky to go to dinner as well at Lem's. I like how there's Clem and then Lem's.
Romantic Chinese restaurant in town.
It looks cute. I think I would like
go there. I think I would love it. I think they would have really good General Tso's chicken, and I'd be all over it.
It looked like a cute restaurant. I mean, I think they were there before when Jack and Mary, I think, were there.
Yeah, with
when Jack was
creeping.
Staring at her.
She was there with Roger.
Yeah. Where's Roger? He hasn't been on for this week.
No, he's hidden this week. We just talk about him vaguely. We don't see him.
Yeah.
He's the blackmailer.
He is. Delia goes to see Frank. Jill's there. They talk. She says that instead of doing what the priest says, she says, "You're hurting Little John." This is where she does use Little John to try to get make her feel guilty. Jill's like, and then she says, "Give Frank back to me." She's like, "He's not fine to give. He's not a present. Like you can't just do that. Jill said basically she's sorry, but it's Frank's choice. That's very true.
It is, but Jill
Um,
could back off until Frank actually makes that decision instead of standing there in between.
yeah, but she can't because she's part of his campaign. Like she has to tell him things. But I mean, she's trying to keep it like that. She went and told him business, but then he remember he like told her the stuff.
Listen,
So
I like Jill. I just don't like that she's in this position. I think it's a terrible position to be in.
it is. But she's working for him, so she kind of has to tell him things. I mean, really.
Well, she could
And I
say
guess she's, yeah, but yeah, we know but she's in love
she's
with him.
not going to.
You can't
Grow
help who
up.
you're
I
in love
want her
with.
to grow up.
No, she
Grow
will not
up.
grow up.
Find a man who's free. Uncomplicate your life.
But he's unhappy and he's going to get rid of Delia anyway.
Sure he is. That's what they all say. Until you see that signature on those divorce papers, tell that guy to screw
If
off.
he doesn't get rid of Delia after pushing him down the steps, then he's got some serious problems. I mean, he's in the hospital for months. I would divorce her then and there. I'd be like, girl, you're going. Like,
if he divorced her because he was like, you shoved me down the stairs and almost killed me, I'd be like, yeah, fair.
For sure.
She's trying to make up for it, and I love her. I can't help it.
I mean, I love the actress Eileen Kristen. I love her, and she plays this to the hilt. Like she's really good at Delia.
She is killing it.
I can't wait to see Robin Matson's take on Delia. But we have a lot of years, so we will not see that for a very, very long time. Unless we watch 50 episodes at a time, then maybe.
I don't think we can do that. I have very many things to do in a week.
Mary goes to see Jack. He's like depressed and he's just listening to opera. They talk about Frank and how Jack went about his story. He's like, the public has the right to know who they're voting for, which I do totally agree with. I mean, we do. She again says, I'm protecting my family. Are you or aren't you going to put the story out? Is what she basically needs to know. I don't know what she'll do when she finds out. I guess warn them.
I don't know, but he can't compromise his integrity for her, his journalistic integrity. That's who he is. So she needs to decide if that's, between her family and this new burgeoning relationship she has with him. Like, I don't know what she's going to do. I don't know.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention that. So that's all I have for those episodes. So now we can talk about everything. Sure. But so I did forget to mention that she did say to her brother that she loved Jack.
Pretty obvious she does.
And then could be in love with Jack if they could. What was it? I forget how she put it. Like if they could trust each other at the same time. I guess that's how she put it.
This is the thing. Like, I feel like Jack is trustworthy because I feel like Jack came into this situation and told her, I'm going to do this story the way I feel is right and the way that the truth leads me to and where the story goes. And she's like, yeah, but you won't find anything, so it's not a problem. And then he found something, and then she's like, well, this could damage my family, which I understand. Like, neither one of them, I think, is wrong in this scenario. She wants to protect her family, but he needs to protect his integrity. Like, his job is to do this. This is his job.
That's part of the reason I said, like, as like I like the triangles and this, like the people that they're building, because they're building this relationship really well. Where it's causing so much turmoil in both of them. Like I can see how like Mary is good for him and like how he would be good for her because she's very protective. And he also, I feel like he seemed like a dirty dog, like with women in the past.
Yeah, with Jill.
Right. And even like I think when they talk about he had multiple girls and stuff, but now he's really into Mary, and I think that's what obviously is why he's depressed, because he hurt someone that he actually I think is in love with, and he's obviously not dealing with his issues good, which is why he was stalking her at the Chinese restaurant.
He's not handling it well.
No, and I don't think he's used to that. I don't think he's used to feeling that. So it's a really good storytelling, good writing for this, because they build it very well. They don't do that anymore. Like they don't give you time
Yeah,
to build story with.
I
They're
agree.
just gonna throw people together now. They're just like these two are together, and then that's it.
And then you get upset because you're like, they don't have any chemistry, you don't care about them,
Right.
going on. I feel like they're doing a good job of showing you different types of love. Like, I think Bucky's was puppy
Yes.
love, but it was also obsessive. And
Mm-hmm.
I think Seneca's love is controlling and possessive.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jack's love is confused because he's not really sure what the hell he's doing, but he wants it to be something like, and I think that's why he, like you said, he didn't have success in other relationships because he never felt this way before. So now he's finally found someone he wants, but he screwed it up for
Right.
the job, which is how he's based his entire life on, is this job. This job is super important to him. And now Mary's becoming like on par with that job. And now he's like, what do I do? Because you can't not run the story because your girlfriend doesn't want you to run the story. That's just
Right.
how you do it. And then Mary's in a situation where she had like so much familial love, then she put her brother so high up, and then he's been knocked down off his peg. So now it's like she's reeling because it's like, is love what she thinks it is?
Right.
So now she's like, that love she like thought she has for Jack is so confusing to her because like, is that more honest than this other relationship? Because she didn't really know Frank because he was lying to her.
Yeah.
So now it's like, this guy's telling you the truth, but it could hurt your family. It's like a
Right.
really confusing place to be if you're.
It is, and I'm wondering how they're gonna like, if they're even gonna date. Like, I mean, it seems like that's where they're going. What's that?
How do you resolve it? Like, how does she
Right.
date him?
Right. Like, I mean, there's no way he can't. I mean, maybe he might be like, listen, I'll give you a day, but I got to get on the story because somebody else will do it if he doesn't. You
It's
know what I
going
mean?
anyway. It's coming
Right.
out. The truth is coming out. Would you rather
So,
have someone with integrity do it, or
and that you care about?
yeah,
Yeah,
just down the
exactly.
block who wrote a hit piece?
I think that's what it might ultimately come to. Something like that, where, you know, he's going to have to write it and she'll have to just understand and deal with it.
It's so funny to compare like these all up in the air loves with like
Hmm.
Johnny and Maeve at the bar, who are the couple that have been together for 100 years, and like their interactions with each other are so loving and funny, and they're like little gossipy horses.
Yeah,
I
when they were
love-
watching watching the cats in the alley. They do. They give them some funny moments. You're
Not
right.
only that, like when they were watching Faith do her little flirty flirt thing,
Hmm.
and she's like, "Did you notice that?" And he's like, "I did," and they were just like, "Ooh." And I kind of like that they're trying to show us different types of relationships, like all over
Yeah.
the place, because you're seeing like the settled married couple that's like happy, and
Yeah.
then you're seeing Nell and Seneca in their confusing relationship of just like him being obsessively trying to own her. And then
Right.
you see Frank and Delia where it didn't work out, but they're still like together. So there's a lot they're showing all in like 20 minutes.
Right, and that's what it's good. It's a good story, and there's a lot going on in these 20 minutes, which is I feel like this it's just not like that anymore. Like Bold and the Beautiful is not like that, and it's 20 minutes, and it used to be like that where they told multiple stories. Like we have so much going on in 20 minutes. It's crazy, and yeah, back then I think it might have been like 23 minutes.
Yeah,
Hmm?
storytelling evolves though, like pacing changes.
Yeah,
They don't do as many storylines because I don't think they do them as drawn out as they are on these. Like Frank
right.
would already be up and walking. Hello, Lulu had her liver replaced. Was wandering around like it ain't no thing. 2 minutes later, but like
Right.
shows, they're like, okay, well, we're a medical show. Like half of us is a medical show, half of us is this bar. So like we can't just be like, oh, he was paralyzed yesterday, and like today he's miracle walking. Like we have to walk through that thing. So while that's
Right.
happening piece by piece, we get like these smaller storylines building up around it, and they all like go out a lot slower. And
Yeah.
so like now you would have maybe 2 storylines, but they happen so much faster, and then the new storyline starts.
Yeah. It's just a shame because it's good and it's interesting. You know, like these episodes, like none of them are boring, and they go like this. Like I feel like it's 5 minutes and done.
I feel like it took a while to get started because we got so much exposition in the beginning that I was just like, you're killing me. Like, just stop telling me what's happening and just show me what's happening. But like, it was like the first
Right.
month, we're just like, we have to lore drop on you so hard because you just got here, you got to town, you don't know who's related to who and what's going on.
Right. Right.
Now it's like settled down into, instead of, we're not getting long diatribes about how Frank is the most perfect person now. Like we're not doing that anymore because Frank's awake. So we've moved away from that horrible, I'm sorry, that was horrible storytelling, into this much more natural style of storytelling. It's so much more interesting.
See, I liked when he was asleep because I felt like there was so much going on around it, and then like nobody knew what to do with themselves.
That part was good, except like people are like, when Frank was Jesus Christ and he walked on water,
right.
and it was just like, okay, great, he's a good person, but like his fall needs to be harder if they built him up that high, because bailing a friend out because you're cheating on your wife isn't really that bad. Like it's just like, okay, you made a bad choice, but you still made the bad choice to help your friend. So that doesn't really make you as crappy as all that. Yeah, cheating on your wife sucks. It makes you a shitty husband, but I don't know if it makes you like the worst human being on the planet. I actually hate Seneca more.
Right. And when is this campaign going to happen? Like, what is that's another thing.
Why did they not drop out of the campaign? The man's in the hospital trying to recover from a massive injury.
Right.
How is he going to run?
Yeah, he almost died like 3 times.
Like he needs time to recover and like build his strength back up. And like being in office is not going to be unstressful.
Hence why I don't understand why he would keep the secret that Delia pushed him. I'd be like, this bitch pushed me. Like, what?
Yeah, if you wanted to get out of your marriage and you wanted to get out of it in a way that works, you could be like, well, she attempted to murder me, but I don't think he doesn't want her to go to prison. He doesn't want the mother of his child to go to prison for an accident, which I'm sure he thinks it probably was an accident. She probably just lost her temper.
If I almost die because of you, you're going to prison. Sorry, girl. It's just the way it is.
You are the worst friend. I would never do that to you. I'm going to give you the first murder attempt free. I'm going to assume you were hangry.
It's just crazy, though. Like, I don't know. And I get it, like the scandal alone, I guess, for that, because then she could be like, well,
much worse.
He cheated on me with Jill, and then it would just spiral and all of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot more stigma back then. Number one, for having an affair. Number two, for getting divorced. There's so much more stigma back then. Of course, a lot of it would fall on poor Delia. You know, Delia would take the hit for all of that. She was a bad wife. That's why he stepped out on her. She's a bad mother. That's why nobody loves her. Like, it would all fall on her because society's really weird. But
and he did say that he put the $6,500 away to keep it away from Delia too. Like, I'm like, was she just like a money grabber, like spending all his stuff? Like,
according to what she said earlier, when she said that he wouldn't even give her money for a new pair of sandals for $5 sandals. So I don't know. Did he want to hold on to his money because he didn't think he was going to be long term with Delia? Because even if he divorces her, he's going to have to pay child support and alimony because she doesn't have a job.
Yeah. And does what's his name, Roger, owe him that money? Was he lending the money or was he giving it? Because he didn't.
Roger paid part of the money back.
So then he has some of the money.
Remember, Roger said, I have some of the money for you, like a down payment. I think it was like,
I remember. But did he give it to him though?
Well, he told him he was going to give it to him, and then Frank was like, "You can't give it to me, so put it in your account." Like, which is stupid because we know Roger's a compulsive gambler, and Frank's aware of that. So who would let him hold on to the money? Because he's just going to gamble it away when he runs out of money. Because right now he's on a winning streak, but how long does that last before you go down again? So I kind of think Frank's a little dumb for that, at least.
Well, I mean, he's been blackmailed in a way, right? Or because Roger knows about it, right?
Roger is the one that initially blackmailed him to get the $6,500. So why wouldn't you want the money back as fast as possible?
Right.
Even if you told Roger, put it in a shoebox and hide it in a bus station and give me a key to it so my wife can't get it and you don't have it. Like, why wouldn't you do something other than be like, Roger, hold on to it until I need it again? He's going to go back to Roger, and Roger's going to be like, oh, sorry, man. I had to pay Nick Szabo back because he convinced me to keep gambling like he did last week or whatever. And I don't know, but I don't particularly think Frank is very bright, which he must be. He went to law school. He can't be dumb.
Right.
Interpersonal
Pass your boards.
relationships, Frank is dumb.
Yeah. You could be really super book smart, but dopey in life.
He just seems to have, when it comes to his personal life, he seems to have made bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. And the women around him are paying for it. He doesn't care. He's like, I want Jill, so screw my wife and baby. And then he's
He
like,
really should just
keep the baby. And it's like, what about your wife and her son?
he should just drop out of the race.
Yeah. He could
I don't
drop
know
out
why
of
he
the race.
doesn't.
If he dropped out of the race, he could come clean about everything and get his house in order. But he's not going to do that.
No, just to be complicated.
He is complicated.
I can't imagine him winning though, but as it just feels like it's all circling.
Considering how like ableist people were back then, like they didn't even have ramps to let people in wheelchairs into buildings. Like there weren't, there was no accommodations for anybody who is differently abled in any way. I can't imagine them electing a guy who's partially paralyzed.
Right.
And that one guy said it, that one Teamster that came in, he was like, the dude can't even walk, let alone run. And that would be the prevailing attitude that normal people would have, because normal people are normal people.
Like, I feel like the race has to come to an end soon, because like it just feels like there's always something, little tidbits we're getting every week.
What month are we in?
I think it's November.
November would be election month. So
right.
By the end of this month?
Maybe.
Unless it's like some kind of weird.
Because Delia's doing envelopes and Jill's doing promotion and all of that stuff.
Yeah. And who is he running against? We have seen no other candidate.
Right.
I don't know. If he's running unopposed, then yeah, he's going to win. But if he's not running unopposed, who is he running against? A cat? Like who is?
That is true, because like Jack didn't even mention. You would think he'd be like, "Well, I'm looking into the other opponent too," but they never said.
Yeah, Jack is so focused on Frank, but if they were really doing election stuff, he would have been focused on both candidates. So he would have been digging up dirt on both candidates.
Unless there was like a reporter on that one too, but yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Does Jack do the political beat? Like, does he have a specific beat, or he just submits whatever stories he wants, and then his editor shops them? We don't know any of this, because most of the time these writers haven't had these jobs, and they're just like guessing.
Right. I remember that. Like, put him in a race.
When
He'll be mayor.
Remember Lulu became like a writer overnight, and I used to be furious. You don't? Well, one day she just decided she was a writer, and she just started writing for magazines. And then she wrote for Crimson and all this. And
I remember. I do remember her writing for Crimson.
Furious. I was furious, because it's like, that is not how any of this works. Like, you can't just go, I think I'm going to be a great writer tomorrow, and submit your stuff and people immediately pick it up. Like, how sparkling is your prose? Like, that's crazy to me.
Well, you do remember Kimberly in Melrose Place. She blew up Melrose Place. Went crazy. He was in an asylum, and by the end of season 4, she's a psychiatrist.
How? How did? That's like, I think schooling. Like, when did that happen? Was she in school the entire time? Is she an accelerated program? Were they in the asylum? Did they were like, you know what, you're really great at this. Let's get you on a fast track. What happened there? Like, sometimes, like, yeah. So I think they do suffer from a little bit of. We're not really sure how this works, so we're just going to be like, he's a reporter and he reports on everything. And I'm like,
everything.
This guy, if he's on the political beat, he would be doing all politics stuff. Like, then they would have like somebody who's on like the social blog. Like, it's not like they could conceivably go into different areas, but they almost always have a specialty. And if his specialty was exposés, maybe that would make more sense.
Dr. Rossi in Peyton's Place. He does it all.
Dr. Rossi
of everything.
Not supposed to be practicing psychiatry. He's really bad at it.
Yes.
He does not
season 3
women. He doesn't.
Season 3, the colored episodes, people. If you watch those, you'll see that Dr. Rossi is not a good psychiatrist.
But you can see that even when he was with Mia Farrow, like when he was with Allison,
Oh yeah,
the
Allison.
stuff he would suggest to her was absolutely atrocious. And it was just like, you are a GP, and sometimes you do surgical rotation, but you, my guy, are not a psychiatrist. That's why everyone has to go to, was it Boston? They have to go to Boston.
Yeah.
Because there's the closest psychiatrist is in Boston. Now, the best thing to do would be to hire one for the show, not let Dr. Rossi do that. He is terrible.
I think that's where Betty's dad went, isn't it? I think Boston, like some clinic.
To a sanitarium or whichever one.
Yeah.
Crazy house for crazy people. Gently.
All right. Well, anything else? Anything else crazy to say about Ryan's Hope? I look forward to more. It's getting crazy.
I really want to know where this, what we're supposed to feel about Seneca and Nell. Are we supposed to feel like this is a love that needs to be rekindled, or are we supposed to feel like this is a story about a woman wanting her own freedom and dignity to die the way she wants to? Because I think
that's what it is.
I hope it is, but you know as well as I do that a lot of times in these stories that they turn into the guy was right the entire time, and it happens. So we have to,
It does, but I feel like soap writing has always been a little bit different. I feel like
depending on what Gloria Monte's mood is.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I don't know. I just felt like they were always ahead of the game in a lot of stories and stuff. Like they always wanted to do gay stories, but it's hard to when networks are fighting you, like that type of thing. Like they've always been ahead of it. So I always feel like, they were probably into like the women's rights and stuff back then in the 70s. So I feel like it's going to be like she just wants to be away from him. And
I know, but it's weird to see Bucky pushing so hard for them to get back together when that is the storyline. But I guess that makes sense because like the men in her life don't understand why not having obsessive possessive love is like, why don't you want to be loved like that? She's like, I want to go to the mall by myself, my guy.
Yeah, right. All right, well, we'll wrap up this Ryan's Hope. We'll bring you more in the coming weeks. Thank you for joining us. Subscribe, like, and comment. Join our Patreon. We have a lot of stuff going on over there. And see you next time, y'all. Bye.